Welcome to the Recovery Lab podcast. We're glad you were able to join us. Recovery Lab hopes to destigmatize addiction and normalize recovery.
Our platform provides an avenue to share the many stories of those that have recovered from addiction, providing for the listener the most basic antidote to addiction: hope.
All right, everybody, we're back. This is episode 54 of the Recovery Lab podcast series. I'm Drew Hassan.
I'm Daniel Anderson.
We are the Recovery Lab. We're joined today by Eric Button on the Zoom. Thank you, technology of the early 21st century.
Are you guys in Jackson, Mississippi?
Madison. Yes, sir.
Oh, Madison.
Yes, sir.
Just a little bit more.
I wish I could have been in Madison. I'd be sitting there right on the couch with you guys.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a lot like Jackson, only we don't have all the crime.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's a whole another podcast.
Look, you could probably leave a chunk of gold bullion in the parking lot, and it would probably be there the next day.
Yeah, let's
in
go.
Madison.
Yeah, in Madison.
Let's knock on wood with that.
So y'all don't have cars sitting in the parking lot with blue flashing lights?
They're not there long. Look, if you want to break the law, go to the other side of the county line.
Yeah, they're not keen on messing around.
Look, they've got all the tax base in the world and all the resources and all the motivation to take you to jail. They're not playing around.
Yeah, no. The F around and find out is not.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's exactly the way it's supposed to be.
Well, look,
accountability.
Absolutely.
To reiterate for the listeners, the general format, and this is just kind of general, is a speaker meeting with questions. You tell us a little bit about what you got going on. I know you have a professional angle too. So, I mean, we can just take it and talk, and we'll prompt you with questions that we think are interesting. And the benefit of having your own podcast is you can ask whatever you want.
That's right.
So, without further ado,
Eric Button.
Well, thank you guys for having me, and I'm honored to be on Recovery Lab. I got sober on the 21st day of July 2005. It was not a day I was planning on getting sober. I grew up in the Dallas area of Texas. Was adopted at birth to great loving parents who gave me every opportunity to do whatever I want to in life.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. This is crazy. I was also adopted at birth, and I also grew up in Dallas, Texas. Go on.
I guess y'all's charity system is working overtime.
At Baylor Hospital?
No, I was born in Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was born at Baylor Hospital in Dallas.
Okay.
7/6/1967.
Very cool.
So, where was I at?
You were adopted at birth. Wonderful, beautiful family.
I had every opportunity in the world. I was a highly motivated, huge work ethic. I can remember being a kid every summer, getting to go up to my mom's folks, which are my grandparents on my mom's side, and work at their carpet cleaning business every summer. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I didn't spend money for nothing. I was always the type of guy that wanted to get my stuff by myself.
Sure.
I didn't go to my folks and asking for this and that and the other thing. I just went out and made it happen.
Right.
So highly motivated, personality, always had jobs, which always afforded me. I mean, I graduated high school and moved out in my own place that summer.
Wow.
Worked in the car parts business pretty much all my adult life until I got sober. Got in trouble with the law numerous upon numerous times. First time I ever got arrested, I was 2 weeks this side of my 16th birthday. Could have easily got a DWI, but for whatever reason, got a public intoxication and was able to bond myself out because I had a pocket full of money.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the early 80s for you.
Yeah. And quickly learned that this lifestyle, I need to be prepared for avenues of trouble. So it was very difficult for me to buy into the fact that I'm not in control.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I always had the jobs, which always kept me in the cars and the houses and the lawyers. And last time I ever got arrested, I was fast forward to 35 years old. I am the parts manager at a modification center for International Truck and Engine Corporation in Garland, Texas. And I had fooled everybody that I'm staying sober. And I wasn't staying sober. I'm a recovered methamphetamine addict. And I was going to get to take my daughter, Jordan, who was 5 years old at the time, 6, going to get to take her on a trip. And I had to jump through hoops to get to that point, right?
Sure.
I had to have supervised visitation. I was on probation. I had, of course, a probation officer, my daughter's mother, my parents, my daughter's mother's mother. All these people were questioning the fact that I was staying sober. And I jumped through the hoops and fooled everybody yet again. And Friday morning, about 6 o'clock, I was leaving my house to go to work because I was going to leave at noon to go pick up Jordan and fly down to San Antonio to go to SeaWorld with her. First trip in probably a couple years where I could go unsupervised. And got arrested 1 block from my house.
Oh, jeez.
1 block from my house.
Was this an alcohol charge?
And it was controlled substance, methamphetamines.
Okay.
Was smoking it in the car.
Oh, God.
Just like every other time, I get a little freedom, and I quickly lose it.
Right.
I would say today, and have been since I got into recovery, that is God working on getting me into this funnel of change.
Sure.
And I danced around that funnel. You know what a funnel looks like?
Absolutely.
It's got a big end on it, and that's designed to capture myself. And God seemed to use the legal system to get me to change, to get back into the real person that I am. So I got arrested. Normal people don't have bond already paid for the next time they get arrested, but I did. Bonding company had money sitting there, $5,000, which was utilized to pay for a $50,000 bond. How I got a bond, I was on 2 felony probations. It's a clerical error. So I bonded out, and needless to say, I didn't pick up Jordan to take her on that trip.
Yeah.
And the covers got pulled off yet again. And I was at a crossroads. So
how long did people think that you had been sober at this point?
Oh, a couple of years, at least a year.
Okay.
Yeah, at least a year. And I mean, faking urine samples, just
Whole 9 yards. Yeah.
I mean, what does the book say? We burn up our energy foolishly.
Right.
Oh, I was burning up some energy.
Isn't it amazing the lengths that we go to, and the at times quite impressive deceit. Look, I remember one time I needed to come up with some convincing drug test results. So I bought a URL that sounded a lot like a drug testing place here in town that was just one letter off so that I could use Adobe to edit legitimate drug screens that I had for some of my clients. And then I would have them sent from the fake URL, and I was like, I'm going to show them. And I was proud of it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I look back now and I think if I had used the same amount of determination and drive and will only to improve myself and not obfuscate my drug use, I could have saved myself a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
But I'm loving your funnel of change.
Yes. Yeah.
Captured into the funnel of change. That's great.
It fits beautifully with my life. 100%. Beautiful. That's exactly what happened.
And for the longest time, I used my energy to just get at the top of the funnel and hang on to the edge, or not even get completely in, just pretend.
Right. Just circling around.
Finally, consequences never got me sober,
Right.
but consequences got me into a position where I could slow down and buy into putting different actions forward. So went to my attorney, and he said, hey, the only way we're going to keep you out of the Texas penal system is we're going to see if they will allow you to go to treatment. And I'd been to, little stints here and there and did all kinds of probation treatments and stuff like that. So I thought, well, are you talking like 30 days or something? He said, oh, no. You're looking at 5 to 10 years in Texas penal system, because it was a third felony.
Right.
He said, we're going to see if you can if they'll allow you to go to treatment for a minimum of a year. I said, what? And back in early 2005, there was really only 2 places that did long-term residential treatment. And that was a place up in New Jersey called Alina Lodge, and a place in Texas called Burning Tree. And I wasn't going to New Jersey.
Right.
And I was able to go to Burning Tree, and before I got there, they actually, Burning Tree wanted me to go to a 30-day center before I came to Burning Tree, which is a long-term 8 to 14-month treatment center.
Wow.
And I went to a place in Texas for 30 days called La Hacienda.
Sure.
And I do what I do in real life, right? I get some kind of adversity, and I can put on a face and put on an act. And I mean, it wasn't no time I was community president.
Mr. La Hacienda.
Yeah, I was Mr. La Hacienda.
Model inmate, model student.
And it was like, holy moly. Oh, you can leave at 2:00 every day. Oh man, this is like being on vacation.
Right.
And, but I knew I was going to Burning Tree ultimately. And Burning Tree is exactly what I needed because of the personality that I have, which is do, and not do for myself.
People pleasing, would you say?
People pleasing, which really fed into my my drug addiction, right?
Sure.
My methamphetamine use, which was kind of oxymoron because at the end, I was totally isolated and just was moving so fast I couldn't even move. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Yes.
it makes perfect sense.
Methamphetamine was my drug of choice. I mean, that was
And
my thing.
I mean, I'm at Burning Tree. There's all kinds of expectations. Some would call them rules. I would call them expectations to enact. And one of the rules is, for me as a client, I'm supposed to say bye to my family when they come and visit on Sunday, and stay inside the building and not go out to their car with them. Well, what do you think I do?
Go out to the car with them.
Oh yeah, because my mom and dad would bring my daughter down, and there were some months that I was the only one that had a child, right?
Right.
And I'd get away with it for a while. I would. It was so premeditated. Oh, hey, the visitation's fixing to end. I am. Y'all need to go ahead and go so you can get to the airport on time. I don't want y'all to risk being late. My mom and dad would fly down to Austin with my daughter. They'd pick her up at her mother's, fly down there, rent a car, drive over to see me. And they were never late but I would use that, because I want to help them. Right.
Right. What were you trying to achieve here? Were there like drugs in the car, or what was
what I was trying to achieve was pretending that I am still in control.
Okay.
And that I needed to go tuck Jordan into the car seat.
Okay. So what was in that car for you? Other than like, were there drugs hidden in there? You were going to get?
No, it was a rent car that my folks had rented from the airport. What was in there was,
I'm different. I don't have to.
The thought for me that some rules don't apply to me.
Oh. So the whole thing, I see what you're getting at. There wasn't something in the car that you were trying to get. You felt incredibly unique and different and felt like the rules didn't apply to you. So therefore you're going to do anything that you think you want to do. And you're perfectly capable of justifying it in your head that this is something that I deserve to do because look at me. I'm a great, I'm above you guys. And so what I did the same thing, and left to my own devices can do the same thing today, even in sobriety. But what I had to learn was I'm not above the law. I'm not above the rules. And it wasn't until I was willing to accept that my sobriety and God was able to kind of really grasp into my life and work with me and mold with me. But until I made that decision, I was destined to live on self-will until the end. Is this same kind of similar to you?
Bingo.
Okay.
The thought was, hey, you guys go ahead and leave. Everybody else is getting to leave, so there's kind of a commotion.
Sure.
I duck out the side door, go to the car. Oh, hey, I just wanted to tuck Jordan into her car seat. I remember one of the first times my dad said, hey, you're not even supposed to be out here. And what do you think I tell him? Oh,
It's okay.
It's no big deal, Dad.
it's no big deal. It's all right. Hey, I'm the only one that's got Jordan's here, blah, blah.
Sure.
Same old song and dance. And they don't have any drugs there.
Right.
Heck, when I went through Burning Tree, they didn't even have sugar.
Yeah.
Full stop.
So,
Yeah.
So my behavior is still that addictive, entitled behavior, right?
At this point, had the switch clicked that drugs and alcohol are never going to be a solution for you ever again? Or were you still holding on to the idea that maybe I may be able to drink or use like a gentleman one day?
Oh, I still believe that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was still believing that then.
Okay.
because all of my experiences up to that point were, I can clean up, I can show up, I can do these things, I can get the pressure off me, and then I can control and use
Right.
and not have consequences.
This time will be different.
Which was a total lie.
Right.
Yeah, there's a fallacy we all fall for in that how many times did I tell myself, look, you're not preparing well enough.
Right.
You need to think about this, and you will like you're just being,
There's a solution here.
yeah, you're being too risky. You're not being reasonable. You can figure out a way to use IV meth or IV Dilaudid. Like you're clever enough.
Yeah.
And my problem is I had been clever enough for many, many years to pull off doing pretty much whatever I wanted to, and to, fumble around and avoid real consequences. But eventually, as is common, you run out.
Yeah. The line runs out.
That's exactly. So it played out, of course, after about 5 or 6 times of getting the opportunity to do exactly what I was doing, just like any other time from the time I was 16 on in my addiction. Eventually, the covers get pulled off and I get detected, right?
Right.
And so I get detected. They don't confront me then. They confront me the next day in community. And for every behavior, there's an action, right?
Right.
And the action that Burning Tree was taken, because I chose not to adhere to the expectations, was I lost visitation the next month. And I got to explain that to my family, and I got to explain that to my daughter. And you couldn't have scripted it any better. The next visitation was Father's Day.
Oh.
And you can't make that stuff up. There was some kind of power out there. Well, when they told me what was going on, oh my gosh, you would have thought I got extremely angry. I cussed everybody out. I walked out to the edge of the property. I kicked rocks. I hung out in the sun for 4 hours.
You'll show them.
Cussing, screaming. I walked out of the treatment center, but I just walked to the edge of the property. I never left.
There was something keeping you there, huh?
But the only thing that was keeping me there was there was a small little part that wanted to change, but the biggest piece was the consequence that, I'd be going to the penal system.
Right.
And, I said earlier that consequences never got me sober, but consequences got me where I got invested in that funnel. And I swam to the middle of the funnel, and then gravity started taking hold. And I started having an experience with being honest. And, it was very simple to the most simplest things. Like when somebody asks you how you're doing, well, I'm really up in my head today. I'm thinking a lot about how I don't like doing this. And I started having an experience with honesty. And then I grew a relationship with honesty. And of course, I wanted more of it. And well,
it's a practice.
Right.
It is a practice.
It is absolutely a practice.
I started seeing God show up in my life. All the times that I thought was coincidences that I got arrested, right? They were profiling me or whatever.
Bad luck.
Yeah.
Bad luck. Yeah.
Wrong place, wrong time.
People I'm running around with. I mean, I would drive Buick Park Avenues thinking that they don't arrest blue hairs.
Right.
So I started getting busy. and I started having an experience with the work. And I truly see how this power out here I call God has been guiding and directing me for a long time. And I'd been shutting the door at the guidance. Right. And I sponsor guys. I'm sponsored. Home group. Any opportunity I have to be of service, I don't hesitate. And I haven't put drugs and alcohol in my body since the 21st day of July 2005. If I wouldn't have had the opportunity to go into long-term treatment, I would have continued to think I was in control. Right. And I chose what I was doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you walk us through just real quick, because a lot of folks, myself included, struggled with the understanding that drugs and alcohol are never, ever, ever, ever going to be a solution to you again. Have you identified what that moment was where there was, or was it a time period at which you finally realized, oh, okay, maybe it's a good idea for me to let go of this idea that I might be able to use successfully in the future?
I'm a very visual learner.
Sure.
And this is a visual audio exercise. So Wednesdays, I would have my one-on-one with my counselor. And for the longest time, she kept on harping on me, Eric, when are you going to surrender? And what I've realized now is what she's talking about. Surrender is being in the center of the funnel,
right?
Participating, getting into the flow of life, surrender. Well, I would be so mad, and then Wednesday would be the day that my sponsor would come out and visit with me. And Greg, I was just angry, got done seeing her, and I had just got off the phone with my daughter, right? Irritable, discontented. And my sponsor, Greg, he goes, well, do you even know what the word surrender means? And I said, yeah, I'm not a quitter. And he pulled out of the back of his pocket a little dictionary. And he said, I want you to look it up. It's a Webster's dictionary. Who carries around a Webster's dictionary? But this guy did. Greg. I look it up, and the word surrender, the definition is to go over to the winning side. So that's an opportunity where I visually can see and I can feel how there's a power that was guiding and directing that situation for me to make the realization that I can get into different action. And I can, and when I started feeling that, I wanted more of it.
Sure.
Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
That's great.
100%. 100%. So,
and that kind of stuff happens all the time now. Right. I mean, I'll think of somebody and they'll call me, or I'll think of somebody and I'll call them. And there's no coincidences anymore.
No, nothing in this world happens by accident.
It's all in the flow. It's all in the flow. And I want to continue to stay in the stream.
Sure. So
I do the things to continue to stay in the stream of free flow life. And that is look at opportunities for me to do things better. Here's a great opportunity. Guy named Nathan. Worked with him years ago. Emily and I, we saw his daughter when she was born. Okay. Several years ago. I think she's 11 or 12 years old now. A month or so ago, he was driving over by my house, him and his daughter and his wife. They come driving by, and I get to see his daughter, tall, um, healthy girl. And I know Nathan. Nathan is this big spirit, and he likes he likes everything neat and orderly, right? I think she was eating a snack in the back seat, and I made a comment. I said, "Hey, you know, be careful back there. You don't want to lose no crumbs on there. You'll send your dad into left field, right?" And then that egged her on to make comments about her dad, and that egged his wife to make comments about him. And I could tell at that moment that I didn't need to say that to his daughter and belittle it. Basically, what I was doing is belittling her father in front of her. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And later that day, I started thinking about it. And I called him and I said, "Hey, I wanted to let you know I wanted to have an opportunity to make amends to you for today." And I explained what was going on. And then as the conversation went on, he said, "Well, I'd been thinking about for some time calling and asking you to be my sponsor."
Wow.
So it's just another example of how God sets things up and then we work on it.
Right. Yeah. If
And
we,
we're doing the steps together.
are you really? That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. It's, if we can get ourselves out of the way, lots and lots of incredible things. If we just do the whole cliche of do the next thing right or the next right thing, and we remove ourselves from the equation, beautiful things God can do, or your higher power, however you choose to see it, has the much easier time of making incredible things happen.
Yeah.
And I certainly feel that 100%. So, all right. So you got sober. You, where did you, walk us through a little bit of what it's like now. We know what happened. And so what's it like now? What is life like now? What brings you joy? What is difficult for you? How is sobriety, what role does sobriety play in your life, and what is life like today?
Thanks for the question. Sobriety is the most important thing in my life. I do the things on a daily basis to connect with this power. What life means to me today is balance. I could use more balance in diet and exercise, but I'm making attempts. There's always stuff that I can do better. Family is number one. I have the opportunity to be of service to my family. My mom and dad are, in they're 83. My mom's going to be turning 84 this Tuesday. I'm able to do the things that a son should be doing for their parents. I have a wonderful relationship with my daughter, who is thriving. She's going to school to be a nurse. She holds a part-time position as a recruiter for nurses. I get to enjoy the hobby of flying aircraft. I did that this morning at sunrise, and I was doing that last night at sunset. I have a wonderful woman in my life named Emily Klein, who always helps make me a better person. I get to be of service to her and her family. And then I do things out of recovery. For 6 years now, I've been a mentor, coach, example for young men at a fraternity at University of Texas called Sigma Alpha Epsilon. And I've got to see several young men start out as pledges and then become president of the chapter. And I get to be there to lend support or create relationships. And relationships are based upon being real.
Sure.
And life is amazing. I can't wait to wake up. I mean, last night I was going to sleep and I was thinking in my head, man, I can't wait until tomorrow morning.
Right. And for someone that's in active addiction, let me just speak for myself. When I was in active addiction and I would have heard you say that, I would have thought that you're complete full of BS, because I was not in a position as a result of my life choices to be able to understand what it's like to have a life that's worth living. And it sounds like now, today, with a little bit of time under my belt, when I hear someone say that, I feel that. I feel the same way. I am genuinely excited about today and about tomorrow, as long as I get on my knees every morning and ask God that he direct my thinking and that I do his will. If left to my own devices, I can be a complete a-hole and just go crazy. But
Right.
Today I'm able to believe you when you say that. And I was not able to believe someone that was talking that way when I was in active addiction. So for those of you who are listening now and maybe hearing, us say, we couldn't imagine when we were drinking and using that life could be this beautiful. Well,
Rewarding.
right. Rewarding. Believe me when I say this, we also used to not be able to really picture what a beautiful life could look like, because we were so consumed with self. Well, if you do the work, if you approach this day after day and are consistent with doing the things that got you sober when you first got sober, your life will turn into something that you truly love. Now, it may not be what you think it's going to be, but rest assured, if you do the next right thing, it will be better than your wildest dreams, should you decide to continue on this path.
I guarantee you it will be bigger and more rewarding than you could ever predict.
Yeah.
And that's been the experience for myself.
I'm the same way. I'm
Yeah.
right there with you.
We sell ourselves short.
100%. 100%. To feel safe, and that's what drugs and alcohol did for me. It was a solution to the hole inside my heart, and it worked. It was very effective for a very, very long time until it stopped. And then I was left with, oh, wow, I need to put these chemicals in my body in order to feel better, but they used to work and make me feel better, but now they're not doing that. So now I'm just left with an addiction and a bunch of shame wrapped up within that. And, I had no idea what to do. Unfortunately, I was kind of thrown into recovery on numerous occasions. And, I like you discussed, I was circling that funnel for 18 years. Just circling. I'd get in there a little bit and start going in towards the circle, and then life would get difficult, or I'd go through some sort of life-changing event, and I would just hop back onto the top of that funnel. But no, I need to do this my way and start the cycle over again. And it wasn't until I made that decision that, wow, you know what? Drugs and alcohol are never going to be a solution for me. I better figure out how to do life without that. And I tried every imaginable way in order to do that. And, for me personally, the 12 steps has been an absolute godsend for me. Now, of course, there are 1,000,001 different paths to sobriety. Whatever works for you is great. I'm just saying what worked for me is a 12-step program, and I'm super, super grateful for that.
I would say the common denominator through every path, from my experience, every path that leads to abstinence or sobriety from chemicals that change the way we feel, it's all based upon honesty,
Mm-hmm.
making commitments and doing it.
Right.
And if that's prayer and meditation every morning, making a commitment and doing it and giving yourself the opportunity to have the experience. And the next thing you know, several moments have gone by in the day and you're sober.
Right.
And then you build on that from there.
So you actively work with folks now in the recovery community, or?
So I was I got out of Burning Tree in 2005, or actually September of 2006.
Okay.
And I was going to get right back in the car parts business. And I had met a guy who was opening a body shop up in Georgetown, Texas, outside of Austin. And, I would have went to work for him. He was going to pay me $20 an hour in 2006. I would have excelled. I would have probably been managing the place. And the phone rang, and it was a guy named Mark Houston. Mark Houston was CEO of Burning Tree for about 6 months of my stay when I had the opportunity of being a client there. And him and a guy named Greg Rolfe asked me if I ever thought about working in treatment. I said, no, I never thought about that. And he said, well, why don't you come out here and see what we got going on? It's a brand new place. And went out there and fell in love with it. I took a $9 an hour job as a tech. I hadn't made $9 an hour since before I got out of high school.
Right.
And did every job in treatment other than being a counselor.
Sure.
And in some aspects, I am a counselor. I'm a peer recovery support specialist now. Mental health coach. This November, I will have been with Burning Tree for 10 years. I started out working at Mark's, tech supervisor, admissions, BD, you name it, I was doing it. Opened up a program called Addiction Directions where we work with the guys coming out of Mark's. We created a very robust, basically a coaching, mentor, accountability program called avid. And we got very good at helping the families stick to the plan, which then in turn allowed their loved ones to stick to the plan.
Sure.
Everybody that comes out of a treatment center, they get a prescription of health, right? Mm-hmm. Some call it a continuing care plan. Some call it a discharge plan. It's basically a prescription of health. When you successfully implement every item in that plan, it's a guarantee you're staying sober.
Right.
Guarantee. And 95% of people, they sign that piece of paper and they wad it up and put it in their binder and they don't look at it again. And what we did was help the clients put practical application of that plan in the forefront of their life. And we put that plan in the forefront of the family's life. And we started having a lot of success with men and women implementing those plans in their life. And that program thrived and looked for a new opportunity. And in November, I will have been with Burning Tree for 10 years. And I do national outreach for Burning Tree. My title is Family Liaison Sr, National Business Development Representative. I work, Burning Tree has two programs. They have the Recovery Ranch, which is outside of Dallas. It's an 8 to 14 month residential with a 12-month transition program. It's been around since 1999. We're family owned. Then we have a mindfulness approach to the 12-step program, which is shorter term, 30, 60, 90 day. It's outside of Austin in Elgin, Texas, called Renewal Lodge. It is mindfully directed by the founder of Mindfulness and Recovery. His name is John Bruna. He creates the culture for Renewal Lodge. Renewal Lodge is a program that is in network with just about every insurance out there, health insurance. Burning Tree, because it's long-term, doesn't work with insurance, but it does have the ability to assist people that really need Burning Tree. It's a self-pay program. And so I work with our families that have loved ones with us, and I get to go out and tell the story.
Look, you've telling it so well. Hell, I want to go to Burning Tree.
You know, it's
for a weekend refresher course.
Yeah, there you go. It's a program. What I know about treatment and people finding help. There's help out there for everybody, and not every place is the place for every person, but there is a place for every person.
I couldn't agree more. Look, yeah. What worked for me, the last thing that kind of got through to me was a faith-based place. And I would have never thought that I would have ever benefited from a faith-based institution, but it found me right where I needed to be found and, put me on the path to sobriety, recovery, improved spiritual relationships, improved everything. So yeah, I completely agree. And, it's a big ask for somebody. Hey, go to this place for 9 months or a year. But I completely endorse, like, I know the difference between geographical cure and you need to be removed from what I call my epicenter of poor choices. You need to be taken out of your environment and put somewhere for long-term reprogramming. And institutions like the way you describe Burning Tree sounds exactly like that.
That's it. We're not for everybody. We're for the ones that need us. Absolutely. And God usually lines them up.
Yeah, well, there's no shortage.
There's no usually. God always lines them up.
Yeah. So what's what brings you the most amount of joy today? True, unadulterated joy.
I would say connecting people.
I share that with you.
Bringing people together that wouldn't know each other unless I knew both of them. And I don't say that as arrogant, but I say that in a fact that collaboration and coming together is the key to recovery. It's complete opposite of where we were at before, which was isolation, right?
Right.
So I want to bring as many people together as possible.
Look, you're speaking my love language here. I always reflect back on that Johann Hari book, the guy who talks about Rat Park. The opposite of addiction isn't necessarily sobriety, it's connection and interconnectivity and building relationships and having that rapport with one another, as opposed to the stark reality that drug use isolates us. It's a self-imposed prison. So yeah, I completely agree with you.
And it works. It works.
It absolutely does.
And that's what brings me joy.
When, we both get the same thing.
People together that wouldn't already be together.
Right.
We get the same benefit out of the podcast is helping people hear new stories, new angles, new ideas, If it's we've had a couple of interventionists on. That was super interesting to hear about how they have a whole family approach to what they do. I mean, I kind of sort of already knew that, but to hear it explained by somebody in that profession was really eye-opening for me. And to hear you reinforcing and buttressing those arguments about connectivity and connection.
You talk about an interventionist using the whole family, right?
Right.
Every single person. I just envision, creating a team, right?
Right.
And the team is to support the quarterback. And the quarterback is the addict alcoholic who's working on getting sober. So let's all bring them together. Let's get them in this funnel of change. Let's help invite them, and let's support them. And change is going to happen. And we all get to have an opportunity to change.
Absolutely.
Look, I'm looking at the clock over here out of the corner of my eye, and we're getting to where I get to ask two of my favorite questions of our guests.
Okay.
All right. What do you do poorly in your recovery?
What do I do poorly in my recovery? I would say meditation.
As a practice.
As a practice. I hit my knees, but I don't give myself enough time to hear from God. And not to make excuses, but God, I see God in different intervals in the day. And what I'm doing is I'm selling myself short by not having that 15-minute time span before I hit the ground running.
Right.
Does that answer your
makes
question?
perfect sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. The flip side.
One moment, Drew.
Yeah.
Bear with me here. I am. I'm about to jump off camera, but I still have. I'm able to communicate off camera. I'm preparing for the end of the program. So continue on. I'm going to be right here with you in 3 seconds.
All right. Don't fall.
Fortunately, the studio's not that large.
All right, I'm back.
There we go. I was going to say I can't
Good to
hear you.
hear you.
All right. The flip side, question number 2. What do you do well in your recovery?
I would say my strongest suit in recovery would be demonstrating empathy, connecting with people, and sharing bits of myself, which help them connect with me.
I call that my profitability. That's my profitability story there.
Right.
When we can learn how to find something useful and profitable out of our own shenanigans, then we're truly engaging in recovery.
Right.
Yeah. And I would say that's my strong suit.
Yeah, that you can bring that out of yourself and your own past and your own shenanigans.
Yeah.
100%.
Good questions.
Yeah, that was great. Well, Drew, is there anything else that you wanted to
just to extend my sincere thanks? I mean, talking to you has really reminded me how much I like this podcast.
Right.
And to hear somebody who's been down through there, who made more than one mistake, who, danced at the edge on the precipice of true disaster, and to salvage it and then to help the next man. Well done, Eric.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you. And I look forward to being back on Recovery Lab.
Absolutely.
And, what I want to do is do it in Jackson. Or let me rephrase that, Matt.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
We got comfy couches.
Yeah. The private airport that you could fly into literally is
right there.
Literally like 200 yards away. So,
all right.
yeah. Next time you're here, holler at us, and we'd love to have you in. So thank you so much, and thanks again to Ruth Ann for connecting us.
Yeah.
What an incredible human, and we're grateful to her for
Thank you.
everything that she does, not
Thank
only
you.
for us but for everyone in the recovery community. She's a beautiful soul. So thank you so much, Ruth Ann. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
We're out.
And we will see you next week. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, Eric.